What would you do if the person sworn to uphold the law was the one who broke it most brazenly, and you were the only one in a position to stop him? I ultimately sent a corrupt police chief to prison, and it all started because he thought he could get away with buying liquor at my drive-through window. I've worked my share of part-time jobs over the years to help with the family budget. This particular story takes place almost 20 years ago, so the dialogue is from memory, but the events are unforgettable. The job was at a liquor store in a large city. The kind of city that's really just a collection of small towns that grew until their borders touched. Each neighborhood had its own identity, and often, its own police force. My job was evenings and weekends at a store that had a drive-through lane, but we could only sell beer and wine there. State law was very clear: if a customer wanted hard liquor, or more than a certain amount of wine, they had to park their car and come inside the store. We couldn't even carry the liquor out to the car for them. I had just finished the mandatory state training, so all these nitpicky rules were fresh in my mind. The store, however, was run by the owner's slacker son, a manager we'll call Dylan, who was more than happy to bend or shatter any rule if it meant a bigger sale. He didn't care if the employee who rang up the illegal sale would be the one facing the consequences. As long as it didn't affect him directly, it didn't matter. He had a whole list of special customers who were supposed to get whatever they wanted. Regulations be damned. I quickly learned the fine for selling liquor at the drive-thru was more than the store earned in a year. I was a stickler for the rules. If Dylan wanted to break the law for his special customers, he could ring them up himself. It wasn't as if we got a bonus for taking that risk. Besides, Dylan had such a bad reputation in the area that the store was constantly short-staffed. People didn't want to work for him. That meant my refusal to play along wasn't going to get me fired. They needed me more than I needed them. What nobody told me about was the one unusual customer who came by several afternoons a week and twice on the weekends. This man was abominable. He was rude, stinky, and radiated a foul mix of prejudice and sexism. He'd tell the crudest jokes to the female employees and constantly try to get us to go find a park with him, as if we were prostitutes. He wasn't just any man. He was chief of police in a neighboring section of the city. We'll call him Chief Bryant. The first night I encountered him, my coworker, Clara, told me to just watch and stay quiet. She sold him 2 cases of beer and he left. I couldn't help but notice his back seat was so full of empty cans and bottles that there was no place to even put your feet. Clara's only advice was to never say anything negative to him and to sell him whatever he wanted, no questions asked. She never explained why. A few weeks later, I was working alone on a Sunday around noon. It was always slow at that time. Sure enough, Chief Bryant's official car pulled into the drive-thru. "Hi, how are you today? What can I get for you?" I asked, trying to sound cheerful. "I'm fine, and so are you," he boomed. "I need a bunch of stuff and it needs to go into the trunk. Let me grab a pencil and pad so you don't need to repeat it," I said, buying a moment. I returned. "What all do you need?" He reeled off a long list of various beers, wines, hard liquors, mixers, and even some candy. I paused, then asked cautiously, "Is that all? Am I allowed to sell this to you through the drive-thru, or do you have to come in for the harder stuff?" The question hung in the air. Chief Bryant's demeanor changed instantly. He switched off his car, leaving it sitting in the lane, and got out. He walked right up to the window until he was looming over me, his large frame blocking the light. "Do you think I would break the law?" he snarled, his voice low and menacing. "That I would ever embarrass myself, my city, or the Marines this way?" To this day, I have no idea what the Marines had to do with anything. "Of course I don't think that," I said, my voice trembling slightly. "I am just asking because the state training was unclear about this. I guess it must be fine. After all, you are an officer of the law. Just promise me that if I make a mistake, it will stay between you and me." The training was perfectly clear, of course, but I felt deeply unsafe and I just wanted to de-escalate, to avoid making him angrier. At that moment, Chief Bryant made the gravest mistake of his career. In his arrogance, he thought he was simply scaring a powerless store clerk, completely unaware that this single act of intimidation would ignite the fire that would burn his entire corrupt world to the ground. "It better be fine," he growled, stepping closer as I instinctively backed away. "Stop backing up. I need to see if you are recording anything. Put your arms out from your body, level with your shoulders." My heart was pounding. His eyes roamed over me. "Well, I see you are not wearing a wire, or a bra. Maybe I should open your shirt a little and have some fun?" I ought to take you back into that storeroom to have my fun with you. No one would ever know. Sheer terror washed over me. I truly believed he was about to drag me into the back and assault me. My mind raced, grabbing for anything. I had noticed a rosary hanging from his rearview mirror and Catholic decals on his vehicle, not unusual for our heavily Catholic area. I am so sorry, I stammered, forcing words out. I don't think Father would approve. I am only here on Sundays at this time because I can go to Mass earlier. If I was single, I would be happy about it, but it would mean breaking one of the 10 commandments. It was a desperate, nonsensical lie, but it was all I had. He paused, a flicker of something crossing his face. Well, it might be worth it, he finally said with a smirk. Be quick about getting my order and I will leave you alone this time. You should wear a bra that pushes you up when you know I am coming by. I just nodded, my body shaking as I rushed to fill his massive order and ring him up. I just wanted him gone. The fear was suffocating, but I knew my family needed the income from this job. I had to find a way to never be near him again, without getting fired. When Clara came in to take over 2 hours later, she could see I was a wreck. She asked what happened, and with no customers around, the whole story came pouring out. He said he had to pat me down to see if I was wearing a wire. It sure felt more like he was just feeling me up. I cried, the humiliation and fear returning. Clara hugged me, trying to calm me down. Is that all? She asked gently. He said he should open my shirt for fun. I whispered, that he should take me into the storeroom and no one would ever know. Clara's face hardened. This is why we just give him what he wants and never question him. We don't want him to get out of the car. He's tried this with everyone. What he doesn't know is that we have cameras everywhere now. No sound, but we have video. I'm not sure what we can do, but I will think on it. Over the next week, working my shifts alone, a new kind of fear set in. The store, once just a workplace, now felt menacing. I had never felt unsafe there before my run-in with Chief Bryant. My fear began to curdle into anger. I started thinking, not about how to avoid a police chief, but how to get rid of one. This was the turning point. Fear could have paralyzed me into silence, but instead, it forged a steely resolve. I was no longer just a victim. I was becoming the architect of his downfall. I did some research and confirmed that police from any other jurisdiction could pull him over and arrest him. That was my opening. Our neighborhood was gearing up for summer festival season, which meant every local Catholic church was having its big annual fundraiser with games, rides, and, of course, tons of beer. There were signs everywhere warning about increased DUI patrols. One day, I walked over to our local police station. I asked an officer at the desk if they would be interested in pulling over a police officer from another district if that officer was clearly drinking and driving. The officer, a good cop I'll call Officer Miller, looked intrigued. He led me to a small room with some coffee to talk. I work at the drive-thru and liquor store, I began. I have a customer that I am afraid of, and who breaks a number of laws. He is high-ranking in a different part of the city, not our neighborhood. Do you know that just being a cop doesn't mean the laws change for him? Officer Miller asked. Yes, I said, my voice gaining strength, but that isn't all he did. When I questioned him about the rules, he got out of his car, backed me against a wall, and put his hands all over me, supposedly to check for a wire. Then he threatened to take me into the back room for so-called fun. I am really afraid he is going to sexually assault me. I need to stop it before it happens, so I want to get him arrested for all the drunk driving he does. I won't make a complaint about the sexual assault. I just can't go through that. What do you mean by all the drunk driving he does? He asked, leaning forward. He is always drinking when he drives through. I explained. He usually has an open beer in his hand. I've seen him go through 3 beers while waiting in line. His back seat is filled with empties. He opens a new can before he even leaves the lot, saying he wants to make sure it's good. Sometimes he has us put the beer in the trunk, but only if he orders a Coke. Then we know he's just pouring out some of the soda to make room for the whiskey he just bought. Officer Miller looked grave. These are very serious allegations against a high-ranking officer. Are you sure you want to make them? You may be investigated. I am afraid this man will rape me, I said, my voice firm. I will testify about his drinking and driving. I won't say anything about the sexual assault threats. There isn't anything you could dig up on me. I'm a 30-something mother of 3, happily married for over a decade. I don't drink or do drugs. I have some debt, but who doesn't? Do what you have to do. How can we prove this? He asked. He has a routine. I laid it all out. He pulls in, drinks, orders, and often asks me to throw away his freshly emptied cans. Why he has me do it, I have no idea. His car says he is from Somerview and that it is the chief's car. It even has his name painted on the door. After he pays, he always turns right out of our lot, then left about a mile down the road. I can set his empty cans aside for you, if you need them for fingerprints. Officer Miller's eyes widened. He is the chief? Of Somerview? Wait here. I need to get our chief. Do not go anywhere. About 30 minutes later, the chief of police for my neighborhood came in. I knew who he was. He'd married a distant cousin of mine. We exchanged polite hellos before he got down to business. Let's call him Chief Evans. I hear you have some information about Chief Bryant, he said. Why come to us? I repeated my story, emphasizing the threat I felt and the danger his constant drunk driving posed to the community. He is going to kill someone. Chief Evans looked at me intently. If I look into you, am I going to find you have a private relationship with him, or other things that would discredit you? Of course not, I exclaimed. I wouldn't go near that man for any reason. From what you've said, this looks like an easy case of drunk driving, Chief Evans mused. Especially if we can catch him with a lot of booze and empties on him. We would need an officer inside the store to take the empty cans as evidence. How would you feel about that? I would be fine with it, as long as the officer was out of sight and out of uniform. I agreed. If you want empties, Wednesday is a good day. If you want to catch him with a car loaded with alcohol, be there Sunday around noon. Why are you all so excited about this? I finally had to ask. Chief Evans hesitated. His behavior has caught the attention of quite a few people lately. I can't go into detail, but we are very interested in him. I also just don't like him. He hit on my wife at a function we had to attend. This revealed Chief Bryant's greatest fatal flaw, his unbridled entitlement. He believed his badge gave him a pass to take whatever he wanted from anyone, be it illegal liquor or another man's wife, a belief that had made him reckless and, ultimately, vulnerable. Another person commented on my story later online, saying, "Sounds like your report was just the final straw." And looking back, that's exactly what it was. My testimony was the key that allowed them to finally turn the lock. I left after writing and signing a formal statement. For several weeks, nothing happened. I was getting frustrated. Chief Bryant was still coming in, still drinking, still making his disgusting comments. Then, one Sunday about 2 months after I made my statement, he pulled in. He ordered even more than his usual massive haul. I loaded it up, took his money, and watched him pull out of the lot, turning right as always. Less than a minute later, the air was split by sirens. A lot of them. They were close. I prayed they were for him, but I didn't know for sure. The next morning, dropping my kids off at school, the other moms were all buzzing. Chief Bryant had been pulled over for a DUI. They found all the beer, wine, and liquor I had just sold him. But that was only the beginning. They also found drugs in his car. The DUI stop gave them cause to search his home, where they uncovered unregistered firearms and a treasure trove of evidence pointing to other illegal activities, including corruption and even child pornography. A week or two later, Chief Evans called me. I wouldn't need to testify. With the floodgates open, plenty of other people were now willing to talk. Chief Bryant had become a liability to his powerful friends, and many of them testified against him to save their own skins. Chief Bryant went to prison. His wife left him. The news media had a field day with the scandal of the corrupt police chief. Through it all, I was just thankful that my name was kept out of it. My quiet revenge complete. The story is a stark reminder that no one is above the law and that the courage of one person can be enough to topple even the most entrenched corruption. It proves that even when you feel powerless, you can still find a way to fight back. What would you have done in my position? And what do you think is the best way to handle an abuse of power when you see it?